Hello, and welcome to Tell Me About Your Game, the show where we talk with new independent designers of board and tabletop games to give them the exposure they deserve. Today, our guest is Jay Mansmann, the designer of Spartan Speech. Jay, welcome to Tell Me About Your Game.
Thanks, Jeff. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, a pleasure to have you. Okay, let's dive in. Jay, tell me about your game. If I have never seen it before, what's the elevator pitch?
All right, so the game's called Spartan Speech. It's a guess the word party game. It's got a couple of twists to it. So you're trying to write the shortest clue possible. So whoever writes the shortest clue gets to reveal their clue first. The second twist is that every hidden word is a proper noun, and your clues cannot contain proper nouns, which makes for really interesting, creative, and kind of absurd clues.
We'll be exploring that a little bit later. So am I assuming that the reason it's called Spartan Speech is you need to be very Spartan about your clues? You need to be very careful about the clues that you're given?
Exactly. The Spartans were famous for their bare bones lifestyle and their short and kind of funny expressions.
Okay, so you don't need to actually talk like a Spartan, but you do need to be Spartan with your terminology.
Yeah, sadly, you do not need to talk like a Spartan.
Okay, so why did you decide to make this game? What was your inspiration?
So I was at work, and I have some coworkers who sometimes watch American movies, but they can't remember the names of any movie or actor. So they always try to explain what they were watching. So one time, this guy said, "I was watching that show with the smart kid," and then I guessed immediately, "Young Sheldon." And I felt like I'd won something. And then later he was talking about that show where the kids run around in the dark. And then my other coworker said, "Stranger Things," and he was the first one to guess it. So I felt like, this is kind of a game concept right here. How quickly can you describe something without using any names?
Oh, wow, and I like the fact that you guys just didn't go right to IMDb, and you actually had a little bit more fun with it than that.
Absolutely.
And I just an age thing. If you went to the show, The Smart Kid, my first guess would have been Malcolm in the Middle, but I think it's because I've got a couple of generations on you.
I love Malcolm in the
um,
Middle.
so, who is the audience for your game? Who did you make this game for?
The audience is for basically anybody who knows general American pop culture and basic geography. So any family that has people, ages maybe 13 and above, this game should be for them. Any group of friends, anybody really.
Okay, and what board games or maybe even video games did you draw inspiration from, beyond just sitting around the water cooler with your coworkers?
There's a lot of good word games out there, like Just One and Code Names. But the problem with code names was like my wife's Chinese, and code names you really have to have like a solid grasp of every possible meaning of every word in that deck.
Mm.
So like code names just didn't work for our family. So one of the things I was aiming for with this game was making something that's a bit more approachable. If you have a basic idea of American culture and world geography, then this game should be able to work for you.
Okay. Beyond just the topics, did you have any core design principles when you first set out? Like as I always say here, when I start designing a game, there are certain ideas I have about the game that while many other things may change about it, those non-negotiables exist, and I refuse to change them throughout the course of the design process. Did you have any of those?
There weren't too many like mechanics I just really wanted to have. So actually, the game started very, very differently, where it was just players making guesses that couldn't have proper nouns, and then just guessing anything, and then eventually trying to get to the proper noun. And it was more like golf, where you'd get a little bit closer each time. And it was a disaster. It wasn't fun at all. But I think really what I was just aiming for was something where you could have some kind of funny clues. It would work across cultures and just have very simple rules. As long as I met that, I think I've been pretty happy.
Yeah, I remember when I was reading the rules for your game, I had a question for you, and it'll make more sense, as we go over the game
Yeah.
itself, where I had asked, what is the incentive for the clue giver to have other people guess their clue? And your response was, there's no real incentive for it. It's just to have fun. So
Yeah.
I feel like that might have been one of your core design principles that, fun first, rules are very much secondary. Seems like your philosophy here.
Yeah, exactly. Like games like Apples to Apples, Cards Against Humanity, like, they're just for fun. Code
Right.
Names is a little bit more on the competitive side, but really, I just want people to have fun and not take it too seriously. because I did try a few very complicated scoring systems where you could get half points and 2 points for certain things, and then just led to a lot more components, a lot more rules, and it did not increase the fun at all.
Yeah, so it was one of those games, and I played a few of them, and we've always had fun with them. Which is just we play the game. Nobody really cares who wins.
Exactly.
It's more about the experience than the points.
Yeah. Sometimes when I'm play testing with people, they win the card, that's their point, and then at the end I ask who won, and people completely have forgotten that they were collecting cards and winning this whole time. And I think
It
that's really how games should be.
actually reminds me of like when I would play tennis with somebody, and we're both very bad at tennis,
Yeah,
and you just be hitting the ball back and forth, and at some point someone would go, "What's the score?" And we both go, "Ah, who cares?" We just go back to hitting the ball back and forth.
exactly. It feels good to win like a single point, but nobody cares at the end of the day who won the
Right.
most points.
Um, so usually this is when I ask about what are the rules or mechanics that define your game. Do you think, even though it's not a mechanics heavy game, that there are some mechanics that give Spartan Speech its identity?
I think so. I mean, there's just a few rules in this whole game. So basically, you're going to write a clue, and your clue cannot really contain any shortcuts. It can't have any proper nouns, no abbreviations, no numerals. You just got to use common nouns, adjectives, verbs, and try to describe this thing as well as you can. And then that does lead to some strategy. Like some players don't want to go first. They don't want to write the shortest clue. They hope somebody else writes the shortest clue, kind of sacrifices themselves, gives a hint to the guesser, and then you have a better chance of winning if you go third or fourth. But as far as mechanics go, yeah, there's not much. But strategy can be surprisingly deep occasionally.
Okay. So I think it might be fair to say almost that the dearth of mechanics, or one might say your mechanics are Spartan, for
Yeah.
example, is exactly one of the key mechanics of the game, that there are very few mechanics to worry about.
Yes. And I think that makes it a better game.
Okay.
Very
So
easy
we
to learn.
talked so we talked a lot about the cards. Let's take a look at a few of them. So here we have 3 sample cards. Talk us through what we're seeing here, and then a little bit about how you came up with the various proper nouns on these cards.
Yeah, so each card has 6 proper nouns on it. At the beginning of the game, you'll just choose a random number, 1 to 6, and then you'll go with that number throughout the whole game. But one advantage of that is, let's say that we've chosen to do number 1 for this game, and maybe we get to that second card and it has Frogger. Perhaps one of the players doesn't know what Frogger is. They can just say they don't know that one, and then you can just go to one of the other ones on the card. So that's kind of a way that we've tried to make it more accessible. So you don't need to know every single word that comes up. If you need to, the group can adjust.
So
Um, yeah.
oh, go ahead.
Oh, you go.
How do you determine whether or not a proper noun is a good fit for the game? Because I see you've got a really wide range here. You've got Sahara after the desert, you've got Kermit the Frog. What is your rubric to determine that this is a good choice to put on one of your cards?
So when I was making this list, which went over like 450 words, I kind of just went with a stream of consciousness sort of approach, where I would think of a word, try to figure out whether it would be something that everybody knows, and if so, then I would try to think of some clues for it, like Sahara. Like, can you really just make a one-word clue for it that anybody can guess? If not, I would keep it in the game, and then I would try to think of another word in my head. So sometimes I would think, Sahara. That would make me think of deserts. Then I'd maybe put Arizona on the next card. Then just kind of keep going through until I had 450 things that I thought basically everyone in the world should know.
Okay. And you said you can't use a proper noun as a clue. So in the second
Correct.
card, number 5, the office, I could not put Dunder Mifflin as a clue.
No, couldn't do Dunder Mifflin, couldn't do Jim, Pam. None of those would be allowed.
Okay. So I do have a bit of a rules question, and maybe it's fine because, again, your game has very few rules. I'm looking at card number 3, Turkey, obviously referring to the country of Turkey, but it is also just a regular noun, turkey as in the bird. Would
Yes,
I be allowed to put gobble as a clue?
absolutely. If you can get the guesser to say the word, you've won.
Right. So it doesn't matter that the clue itself refers to the country. You just need to get them to say the word turkey.
Yes.
Excellent. I love it.
Yeah, keep it simple.
Okay. Um, so how many cards do you have? in the game?
So the game right now has 72 cards, and each card has 6 words.
Okay. So I don't feel like doing the math right now, but that's
It's a lot. Yeah,
a
you
lot
can
of
replay
a
it
lot of clues.
maybe 20 times without reusing words.
Okay. So tell us a little bit about the flow of the game. How does it start? Like how does a round go? What exactly does it look like to play the game?
So you got to figure out who the guesser is going to be for the first round. The way that the rules say to do that is whoever last watched the movie 300 will be the guesser first. So then the guesser will just draw a random card, not look at the front, and put it on a card stand in front of them. Then the other players will look at the card. Oh yeah, they need to say the random number, so maybe 2. And then all the players look at the second word on that card, start writing their clues. Then when they finish writing their clue, they flip it over. They write down on the back of the whiteboard how many words are in the clue and how many letters are in the first word. Because how many letters are in the first word is the tiebreaker if 2 clues have the same word length. And then after everybody's finished writing their clues, you reveal them shortest to longest. So whichever clue has the fewest words goes first. If there's a tie, it's whoever has the shortest first word. If it's still tied, it's whoever finished writing their clue first. So then they show it, guesser makes a guess. If they get it right, that clue writer gets the card. If they get it wrong, it goes to the next clue, and so on until the round is over.
Okay. And is it the number of rounds equal to the number of players, or does each person get to be the guesser more than once?
So I think in the rules right now, it suggests that each player gets to be the guesser 3 times.
Okay. So there's 3 times as many rounds as there are players.
Yeah, that's usually the best way of doing it, I've noticed. But if you want
Okay.
a longer game, go for it.
Right. So I'm assuming you're also, yeah, given the relatively freewheeling design of the game, if everyone's fine with 2 rounds, they're like, or if
Yep.
they want to go 5, it's all good.
Yep. And players can come and go. It really doesn't matter too much.
Okay. It's a very interesting design structure, and I don't think there are enough games out there that are designed just for fun. And this is speaking as someone who I myself have a pretty competitive nature, but sometimes
Yeah,
you just want to have a good time.
exactly. And like when you have kids running around, sometimes a parent needs to walk away from the table for a bit, and that shouldn't ruin the whole game night.
Right. Okay. All right. This sounds like a lot of fun. So you have set up a website on a whiteboard, so we can take a look at what a game looks like.
All right.
So
So I got
how is
six
this going to tell
example
me how this
rounds
is going
here.
to work?
All right, I got 6 example rounds here pulled from real clues given by players at Gen Con recently. So we can take a look at the top row, which is example 1. I put them in order from shortest to longest already. So I can reveal the first one. And Jeff, if you'd like to be the guesser, I'll let you
Oh
try to
boy.
guess it.
Okay.
So the first one has 2 words. First word is 5 letters. Sorry, whiteboards are giving me trouble. So the clue, if you can't see it, says South State. And you have to try to guess the proper noun that this player might be trying to get you to guess.
Okay, so is there a time limit for the guesser?
No. If
Oh.
players get annoyed, though, then you can get out a timer. But otherwise, no.
You were not kidding when you said there are very few rules in the game.
I tried with a
So
stand timer once, but it just got annoying.
that's fair. All right, I'm gonna guess Texas.
All right. Let's go on to the second one.
Oh, so I'm guessing I didn't get it.
You did not. And I was actually trying to remember in my head what the answer was because I forgot to write that down.
Mascot hogs. Oh no, this is sports. If my son was here, he would be great at this. I am going to pass on to the next one.
Yeah, so that's another thing about the game. Like the clues that you give can be very different depending on who the guesser is.
Yeah.
If you know that they don't know sports, probably shouldn't give a sports one.
6-second video.
Yeah, this one was completely new to me. I had no idea what this player was talking about. Then they explained it at the end. I still didn't really know.
6-second video. No, I'm stumped. I would be very bad at this game, it looks like. Go ahead.
This group that was playing, they were all friends, though. So I guess they thought they all had the same reference points. Jagged East State.
Ooh, okay, Jagged East State. All right. So it's going to be on the East Coast, and it's going to have a jagged coastline. So you're also hitting upon another one of my weaknesses, which is geography. I'm going to take a shot, though, and I'm going to say Florida.
All right.
Oh, so
And then
no.
the final clue.
Longer. Oop, I've got this little
Yeah,
pop-up
longer
hiding.
name, tornado state.
Longer name tornado state. South Carolina? I'm
So
very
the
bad at this.
correct answer is supposed to be Arkansas.
Arkansas. Oh, okay.
Yeah, because the Arkansas like university mascot is the hogs, or like the, what is it, warthogs. I'm not very good at
Sure.
sports either. Yeah, and the second video. So apparently there was a Vine video or something back in the day of
Oh.
somebody saying, "Why is it called Arkansas when Kansas is called Kansas?" I did not know that reference either. All right, we can go
And
to
I've never
example
had a
two.
Vine account. Oh no, I've only got 3 guesses here. Oh, you're killing me.
Sorry, yeah, this one they guessed fast, so I got three.
Boxer. Muhammad Ali.
All right, let's go on to number two. That is incorrect. Ear
Ear
biter.
biter. Oh, okay. I know who it is. Mike Tyson.
Yep, you got it.
Okay. Woo.
So you can see the
Redeemed.
kind of the strategy here, where like sometimes going first, you just put something very generic, and you're kind of just playing the odds and hoping that this is the one that they guess. And then
Right.
players might do longer clues, be more specific, and hope that you know the reference.
So interestingly, yes, being later in the round in terms of presenting the clues gives you a better chance of having yours guessed because the guesser has all of the previous clues to combine, but also you're later in the round. So there's a bit of a risk reward
Yeah,
for being later or earlier.
yeah, it's really a push your luck game. Like you can
Right.
try to go really, really short and hope that you pull off a miracle, or you can play it a little bit more conservatively and hope that nobody else pulls off a miracle.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, and then the
And then
third
face
clue there was
tattoo.
face tattoo, but here I got it.
That would not have helped me.
All right, we can go through a few more rounds.
Sure.
So the next one is just one word, 4 letters. Pals.
Pals. Oh boy. Friends.
You got it. Yeah, then the next one was pivot.
Pivot. I love that
On a
one.
break. And show with many main characters.
That was I don't know, no judgment to that person. That's a terrible clue because I can name about a dozen shows that have many main characters.
Yeah, I think their hope was if they were the last one to reveal, the other ones would have provided enough clue,
Oh, they were
and
they were
eventually they
doing
would have
that
gotten it.
strategy. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Pals was a very good one though.
yeah. You got it on the first one. It took the actual table here, 6 clues. I only put 4 of them
Well,
here in this example.
honestly, in this one, the fact that I knew it had to be a proper noun helped.
Yeah, it is a bit limiting. Otherwise, you'd have the whole world of words to guess from.
Okay. Well, I feel a bit redeemed after example one where I completely whiffed it.
And then the next are 3 examples where somehow the table managed to guess, or the guesser managed to guess in just one try, which
Oh,
was amazing. So this one is war cigar.
war cigar. Okay, so I'm feeling war cigar. Oh man. Gunsmoke.
Is Winston Churchill.
What? Oh, Gunsmoke was I didn't feel right, but it felt like, oh wow, okay, that was
That makes
impressive.
sense. Gunsmoke is a good guess for that.
That was
Yeah,
a
somehow
very good one.
the guesser managed to get it on that one.
That's impressive.
This one, I have no idea how the guesser managed to guess on just this one word, but devil.
Um, I'm gonna go with the most obvious one, Satan.
It was Meryl Streep.
Oh, the Devil Wears Prada. How
Yeah,
did
I have
somebody
no
get that
idea.
on one guess?
Yeah, it was the most amazing thing I've ever seen, except for
That's
maybe this next
impressive.
one. Go.
60.
Go.
Oh,
Sorry.
go.
Yeah.
Oh, go. Ooh. Um, I don't know what they get.
It was Monopoly.
Wow, and they got that on one guess too.
Yeah, it was at Gen Con, so people had board games on their mind, but I was completely amazed that they managed to guess.
So one of the things I'm taking away from this, I'm not even playing the game for me, but that was fun. I had a
Yep.
good time. But it also has that characteristic I can tell where if somebody, for example, 5, for example, put out devil and the guesser guessed Devil Wears, Meryl Streep for The Devil Wears Prada.
Yeah.
Even if I was not the one who provided that clue or was the guesser, I would be extremely amazed that someone did that, and that in itself would just be a lot of fun watching somebody pull that off.
Yeah, I was amazed. I was not playing the game, I was just watching that, and I had no idea how that was possible. I don't know if they did some sort of mind meld or what it was, but it was an amazing experience. All
Yeah,
the
and I,
cheering.
I I can see all the players having that like shared amazing experience, like just being having a good time watching somebody else get the point because it's just such an amazing thing they pulled off, like pulling off, an amazing move in hockey or basketball. Just watching it is just great.
Yeah, it's got like that highlight experience.
Yeah.
When I
Okay.
was first testing it with my wife, we had the hidden word SpongeBob, and my wife wrote the clue yellow big eyes. And I had no idea what she was talking about, but I thought it was like the funniest clue ever. So I took a picture of it and sent it to my family. And I thought, if people are kind of inspired to take a picture of terrible clues and send it to other people, like that might be a fun part of the game, just to kind of share these crazy clues.
Absolutely. And I think it also, I mean, obviously the best board games, at least in my opinion, are the shared experiences. I'm not a huge fan of what, are referred to as the head down games where you've got your own little player board and you're doing an optimization game that isn't impacted by others. I like interaction. This is almost like that experience distilled where it's just a shared experience in the truest sense of the term in the gaming space.
Yeah, that's exactly what we were going for with this. And we also did make a cooperative version. So if you don't like competitiveness at all, there is a cooperative version that has the same mechanics, except you can discuss the length of your clues with the table, and then you just have like a limited number of words you can use each round.
Oh, interesting. I can see that appealing to some. I think I would still like the competitive version just because I could still pretend that I'm being competitive about something when I'm actually
Yeah, I'm
not.
the same way. I feel weird not winning at all.
Yeah. So this honestly looks like a lot of fun. And I said even not playing the game, I enjoyed. So if someone wants to learn, well, what are your plans for Spartan Speech? First off,
Our
before
hope
we
right now
go.
is that we get a Kickstarter in the full launch phase in the next couple months. Right now, it's in pre-launch. Hopefully, you can provide a link to that in the description.
Absolutely.
And then our hope is that some people actually, back it, and then we can order, hundreds of copies and then ship them out. But really, that's all the plan is right now. I guess if a publisher, responds to one of my emails and says that they'll take it, that's fine too. But our hope is that we just get it out to the market at some point in the next few months.
Okay, so I'm assuming it's gonna come with like dry erase boards and the, dry erase markers and
Oh
things along
yeah.
those lines.
Now that you mentioned it, I do have a
Oh yeah.
prototype box right here, which I'm not very good at mirror image YouTube videos, but there's the box. And then, yep, we got the whiteboard tablets here and markers.
Okay. That sounds great. Okay, yeah, we'll definitely link to the Kickstarter preview page in the show notes.
Okay.
Is there anywhere else do you have any social media or anything along those lines, or is it just a Kickstarter page?
I do not have any social media yet.
I do
It is
respect
in the
that.
works. I hate social media. I'm sorry, everyone.
Every time I've tried social media for this podcast and I just can't maintain it. I'm just come watch my videos.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
where I'm at. Okay, so I encourage everybody who wants to learn more about Spartan Speech and then eventually back it to visit the Kickstarter pre-launch page. Jay, thank you so much for being on the show. It's been a lot of fun. And I would like to encourage everyone watching, if you are an independent board or tabletop game designer, please reach out to me. We have a Discord channel where we all gather, and I will include my email address. And if you want to be on the show, we would love to have you. So, Jay, thanks again. And best of luck with the Kickstarter launch.
Thanks, Jeff. Thanks for playing the game.
Absolutely. And thank you all for watching, and everyone have a great day.